Hey everyone, Pastor George here, and today we get to talk about a fun heresy. I was going to start originally with the Protestant early reforms today, but I actually thought I would start with something funnier because it does come up again in the Protestant Reformation, and we are going to talk about the very interesting principle of holy nudism. Yes, nudism. So there was this group called the Adamites, and they were really big, and not really big. They were always a small group, second, third, fourth centuries, North Africa. And what they believed, they were the Gnostic as well, right? So they believed that matter was bad, and what their goal was to try and return to Eden. And what they believed that meant that if they submitted themselves to God and understood themselves as being these different people set aside, they could completely disregard any sort of moral law that was there, right? So, like, do not kill, do not steal, all that type of stuff, all the sexuality, morality, all gone, right? And so that included the wearing of clothes. So they would be completely nude, right? They were like holy nudists, right? The holy nudism is what they called it. And they saw themselves as being like Adam and Eve in the garden, completely innocent before God, right? Now, were they able to figure out how this was related to Jesus at all? Not really. It was very more of like a Gnostic pagan religion with Christian Judeo trappings over it, but they still believe these things, right? And so what they would do is they would like dance nude in the streets, and like people would get obviously very uncomfortable and sometimes offended by that. And this was a common thing in North Africa in the second, third, fourth centuries. And what they would do is the church would crack down on it, like always, and be like, no, this isn't Christianity. Now, I mean, this is like completely unthinking everything, right? So, of course, no clothes, no moral law, and no marriage. This is like early hippie stuff, right? Like free love, all that. And again, I bring these guys up just to show that there's nothing new under the sun when it comes to stuff like this, right? Just these days, it probably would not be done in a mainstream Christian group, but probably like a cult of some type, and that's probably what many of these things were like. But these people believe that because they were in this original sinless state already, it was their job to bring the Garden of Eden to earth, and so they would, of course, do all sorts of weird stuff in front of people. And the reason I bring this up is because they're going to reappear next week. Or not really. I'm not going to talk about them again. But they're going to be one of the groups that reappears in the Middle Ages, late Middle Ages, especially near the Reformation. Because as we are heading up towards the Reformation, we are going to run into people who are not really that heretical. In fact, they're going to look a lot like us. But they're also coming about this time when there's this general need for reformation in the church, right? And people are going to turn to all sorts of weird and strange practices. And one of them are going to be the Adamites or the Neo-Adamites, right? Because they're the new Adamites. And so they're going to begin doing these things again. And the Protestant reformers are going to have to show how they are different than these groups, because to the Catholic Church authority, anyone who is kind of doing their own thing is all kind of lumped into the same group. And we're going to talk about what makes Protestants obviously different, or neo, or not neo, but proto-Protestants different from weird groups like the Adamites. So I just thought that would be fun to give you guys the idea that these people do exist in Christian history. Heresies go way out there, and there's a lot of fun stuff. And I'm also going to give this video a clickbaity title to make sure people watch it. So yeah. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow for our next Theolog, Culture Theolog, and I will talk about more Christmas carols. Peace out.